Why debt is not the enemy. For most people, the word debt immediately triggers fear. Debt is often associated with stress, endless payments, and financial instability. Parents warn their children to stay out of debt. Schools teach the dangers of borrowing, and society generally views debt as something negative that should be avoided at all costs. However, this belief hides a critical truth. Debt itself is not the problem. The real problem lies in how debt is used. Wealthy individuals do not think about debt the same way the average person does. Instead of asking, "How can I avoid debt?" they ask a very different question. How can I use debt strategically to build assets and increase my net worth? This reverse thinking separates those who struggle financially from those who build long-term wealth. In this article, we will explore how rich people use debt as a tool to create assets rather than liabilities, and how adopting this mindset can completely change the way you view money. 1. Assets versus liabilities, the foundation of wealth thinking. Before understanding how the wealthy use debt, we must first understand the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket or increases in value over time. Examples include rental properties that generate monthly cash flow, businesses that produce profit, stocks or investments that grow or pay dividends, intellectual property, such as books or online courses. A liability, on the other hand, is something that takes money out of your pocket. Examples include expensive cars bought on loans, luxury items that lose value over time, consumer debt used for lifestyle upgrades, credit card debt for non-essential purchases. Most people use debt to buy liabilities. Wealthy people use debt to acquire assets. This single distinction explains why debt makes some people poorer while making others richer. 2. How the middle class uses debt, the common trap. To understand reverse thinking, let's first examine how the majority of people use debt. A typical financial path looks like this. Go to school, get a job, borrow money to buy a house, car, and lifestyle. Spend most of the income paying off debt. Debt is often used to upgrade lifestyle, not to increase income. For example, buying a new car with monthly payments, using credit cards for travel, entertainment, or luxury goods, taking personal loans for weddings or consumer spending. While these purchases may improve comfort or social status, they do not generate income. Over time, the borrower becomes trapped in a cycle of work, earn, pay, debt, repeat. Even if income increases, expenses often increase at the same rate, leaving little room for wealth accumulation. 3. How the wealthy think differently about debt. The wealthy see debt not as a burden, but as a financial lever. Instead of asking, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" they ask, "Will this debt create more income than it costs?" This shift in thinking is critical. For wealthy individuals, debt must meet at least one of these conditions. 1. It generates cash flow. 2. It increases long-term asset value. 3. It provides tax advantages. 4. It allows control of large assets with limited capital. If debt does not meet these criteria, it is usually avoided. 4. Good debt versus bad debt, a strategic perspective. Many financial advisors talk about good debt and bad debt, but the wealthy define these terms very precisely. Bad debt. Bad debt is debt used to purchase depreciating items or non-income producing goods. Examples include credit card debt for shopping, car loans for luxury vehicles, personal loans for lifestyle consumption. This type of debt increases expenses without increasing income. Good debt. Good debt is debt used to acquire or expand income-producing assets. Examples include mortgages for rental properties, business loans used to grow operations, loans for acquiring cash-flowing businesses, debt used to invest in scalable systems. The key difference is simple. Good debt works for you. Bad debt works against you. 5. Real estate, the most common wealth-building use of debt. One of the clearest examples of how the wealthy use debt is real estate. Instead of paying 100% cash, They use leverage. With leverage, a small amount of capital controls a large asset. For example, a property costs $500,000. The investor puts down $100,000. The bank lends $400,000. If the property generates rental income, appreciates over time, is paid off by tenants, then debt becomes a powerful wealth-building tool. Over time, tenants pay the mortgage. Property value increases. Owner's equity grows. This is why many wealthy individuals hold large amounts of debt while still being financially secure. 6. Using other people's money, OPM. One of the most powerful concepts in wealth thinking is other people's money, OPM. The wealthy understand that money is a tool, not a possession. By using banks, investors, or partners, they can scale faster, reduce personal risk, increase returns on invested capital. For example, entrepreneurs use loans to expand businesses. Investors raise capital to acquire larger assets. Corporations issue bonds instead of using cash. By using OPM wisely, wealthy individuals multiply their reach without exhausting their own resources. 7. Cash flow first, not lifestyle first. A major difference between wealthy thinking and average thinking is priority. Most people prioritize lifestyle, bigger house, better car, more comfort. The wealthy prioritize cash flow, income-producing assets, systems that generate money without active labor, investments that scale. They delay gratification, reinvest profits, and only upgrade lifestyle when assets can pay for it automatically. This discipline allows debt to fuel growth instead of financial stress. 8. Tax advantages. A hidden benefit of strategic debt. Debt can also offer powerful tax benefits, especially when used for investment or business purposes. In many countries, interest on investment loans may be tax-deductible. Depreciation reduces taxable income. Business expenses lower overall tax liability. While tax laws vary, wealthy individuals often structure debt in ways that legally reduce taxes while increasing asset ownership. This is not tax evasion, it is tax efficiency. 9. Risk management. Why the wealthy are not reckless with debt. Contrary to popular belief, wealthy people are not careless with borrowing. In fact, they are often more conservative than average consumers. They manage risk by ensuring assets produce stable income, maintaining cash reserves, diversifying investments, stress testing deals against worst-case scenarios. Debt is used strategically, not emotionally. 10. The psychological shift from fear to control. Perhaps the biggest difference is psychological. Most people fear debt because they associate it with loss of freedom, stress, uncertainty. The wealthy see debt as a contract, a financial instrument, a tool to accelerate growth. This mindset shift does not happen overnight. It requires education, experience, and discipline. But once achieved, it transforms how money is viewed entirely. 11. Why schools rarely teach this perspective. Traditional education focuses on job security, saving money, avoiding risk. While these principles provide safety, they rarely teach how to build assets, how leverage works, how to use debt productively. As a result, many people graduate with fear-based financial beliefs that limit their potential. Wealthy individuals often learn these lessons through mentorship, real-world experience, or self-education. 12. How to start thinking like the wealthy about debt. You do not need to be rich to adopt wealthy thinking. You only need to change how you evaluate debt. Before borrowing, ask: 1. Will this debt generate income? 2. Will it increase my net worth? 3. Can it pay for itself? 4. What is the worst-case scenario? If the answer is unclear or negative, reconsider. Start small. Learn. Build confidence. Think long-term. Conclusion: debt is a tool, not a trap. Debt is neither good nor bad by itself. It is simply a tool. Used incorrectly, it creates financial pressure and limits freedom. Used wisely, It accelerates wealth and builds lasting assets. The wealthy understand this truth deeply. They do not avoid debt, they master it. By shifting from consumer thinking to investor thinking, anyone can begin to use debt as a stepping stone toward financial independence rather than a financial burden. The real question is not, how can I avoid debt? But rather, how can I use debt to build assets that work for me? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. See you soon.